Hello students, today we are going to start topic number 9.5, refraction at a spherical surface and by lenses. Now students, we have studied about refraction at a plane surface. So now here we will study about refraction at a spherical surface. Here you can see in this figure that this is a curved spherical surface. Here this surface is convex surface, and this medium which is in blue color is a glass medium. Suppose it is a glass medium denoted by N2, and this medium is air. That means this curved surface made up of glass is kept in air. Now an object is placed on the principal axis, and so due to refraction an image is formed at point I. So this I is image, O is a point object. As this is a curved surface, it is having a radius of curvature. This C is a center of curvature. And as usual, from this curved surface, from this line, this distance is object distance U, and here image is formed. So this distance small v is image distance. So now students, it is clear that in figure capital I indicates image and capital O indicates point size object. Now here the rays are incident from a medium of refractive index N1 to another medium of refractive index N2. So these are the two different mediums. We can consider this medium as an air medium and this as a glass medium having curved surface. Also, we have considered this condition that refractive index of second medium is greater than that of first medium. Now, if we consider the rays coming from the object as a paraxial rays. Paraxial rays means the rays which are quite close to the principal axis. And so, here in figure, you can see this angle made here is alpha, which will be very small. Because the rays are paraxial, this angle made will be very small. Even the object is also point size, so angle alpha will be very small. Also this angle made here is beta and this angle is gamma. So here I have taken these three angles for simplicity. Now students, we know that if angle is very small, then tan alpha can be written as alpha, tan beta can be written as beta, and tan gamma can be written as gamma. So now with respect to this angle here alpha, if we consider this triangle, then tan alpha is opposite upon adjacent. So it is nm upon om. So I have written tan alpha is equal to nm upon om. Similarly, tan beta, you can see here for this right angle triangle, tan beta is opposite side upon adjacent side. So once again, nm, that is opposite side, upon cm. So I have written tan beta is equal to nm upon cm. Finally, gamma. For this gamma, again this triangle, right angle triangle, is formed. So with respect to this angle, tan gamma is opposite upon adjacent, that is nm upon im, from I to m. So nm upon im. So students, I hope you understood about these angles from the figure. Students, remember here this distance MO is nothing but it is object distance. Distance from C to M is nothing but is radius of curvature, and distance from this I to M is nothing but is image distance. And whenever we have considered this triangle for taking these angles, in all the triangles this line was common, NM. So NM was common in all. Now students, we are going to consider the concept of exterior angle. So now let us consider the concept of exterior angle. Here you can see, for this triangle, carefully look here, for this triangle ONC, this I is an exterior angle. This I is an exterior angle of this triangle, and you know that exterior angle is sum of the interior opposite angles. As exterior angle is sum of interior opposite angles, we can write I is equal to alpha plus beta. So I is equal to alpha plus beta. So students, here I have written that in triangle NOC, I is an exterior angle, and so I is equal to alpha plus beta. But what is alpha? Alpha is Nm upon Om and beta is Nm upon Cm. So putting these values of alpha and beta from equation number 1 here, taking out this Nm common, we get 1 upon minus u plus 1 upon r. Why? It is because this OM is object distance and this Cm is nothing but it is radius of curvature. Why this is negative? Because according to sign convention, object distance is always taken negative. So once again, look at the figure OM and CM. This is OM. So from this point, it is towards the left side, and that distance are taken negative, and that's why we have taken this U as negative. And here from this point, this side towards right side, this is R. So R is taken as positive. So that is CM. So students, till here it is clear. Let us give equation number 2. Once again, concept of exterior angle. Beta is an exterior angle of triangle NCI. Beta is an exterior angle of triangle NCI. Look at this triangle NCI. this is point N, then C and I. So for this triangle, this angle beta is an exterior angle, and this R and gamma, they are the interior opposite angles. So beta is equal to R plus gamma, and so I have written here beta is equal to R plus gamma, and so making subject R, we will get R is equal to beta minus gamma, and putting the value of beta and gamma in terms of the ratio of the sides, beta and gamma in terms of the ratios of the sides. So using this here, once again this nm is common in both, so that is taken out. So what is remain inside? 1 upon cm, but cm is nothing but it is r, and here what is remained? 1 upon im, but im is nothing but it is image distance v. So 1 upon r minus v. Once again students, look cm and im in the figure. This is cm. Once again, with respect to this line, it is towards the positive x direction, so this distance is taken positive. And im, this is im. So once again, from this point m, it is towards the right hand side, so this side distance we used to take positive. So v and r we have taken positive, so sign convention is to be considered. So r and v. Let us give this equation number 3. Now students, why we obtain this angle r as well as this angle I? Because we know that I is an incident angle and r is an angle of refraction at the curved surface. At this curved surface, you can see that from this point O, this is the incident ray, and here at this point, this is the normal, this is normal line, and so angle made by incident ray with the normal is this angle. So angle I is an incident angle. Now this ray is a refracted ray and this line was normal. So angle made by this refracted ray with the normal is nothing but angle of refraction denoted by small r. And now here we can apply Snell's law. Here at point N, where the refraction took place, we can apply Snell's law. According to Snell's law, we can write N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R. So now I am applying Snell's law here, and so N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R. But students, we have considered the paraxial rays, and so this incident angle and the angle of refraction, they are very small, and so we can write I in place of sin I and R in place of sin R. So N1I is equal to N2R. Now N1 into I. But what is I? From equation number 2, I is equal to this, is equal to N2 R. But what is R? R is Nm into 1 upon R minus 1 upon V, that we have used from equation number 3. So this value of I and R, they are used from here, from equation number 3 and from equation number 2, and that's why first we obtain these angles, incident angle as well as angle of refraction. Now students, normal simplification is there, normal mathematics is there, you can easily do it yourself. Here both the side n cancel, so here n1 is remained and this term, n2 and this term on right side. Now simply open these brackets here as well as here, and then arrange the terms to get this equation. Here these two terms, they have same base, that is r, so we have taken LCM. So students, after one or two steps, simple mathematical steps, you will get this equation. So this is the equation which can be used for a spherical curved surface. That curved surface can be convex or it can be concave. This equation is applicable to both the types of surface, convex or concave. Now students, remember here this N2 is refractive index of second medium. Image is obtained in the second medium. Refractive index of first medium, that is air, and object was kept in air only, and you can see there is minus here. So to remember this, you can remember in that way only. And here n2 minus n1, so is here upon radius of curvature. In 10th standard you have studied about this formula, that 1 upon v minus 1 upon u is equal to 1 upon f. This is a Lenz's formula. So here if you remember this formula, you can easily remember this formula also. Here you can see in this formula v is there, and we know that where the image is formed, in the second medium. So here we can write n2, where the object is placed in air, and it is n1, so here it is n1, and equal to, simply here there is no focal length given, so we will write here r, and in numerator n2 minus n1, minus is already there here, so n2 minus n1 we have to write here. So in this way you can remember this formula. Now about example number 9.6. In this example, given that a point source is placed in front of a spherical glass surface. So this is a spherical glass surface having refractive index n2, and here it is placed in the medium air, and refractive index of air is taken as n1, and object is placed in front of this spherical surface. So O is the object, this is principal axis. From the spherical surface, the distance of the object is object distance u, and this is a spherically curved surface, so it must have its center of curvature denoted by c, and from the surface to center, this is a radius of curvature. And suppose the image is formed at this point denoted by O dash. Here the given conditions are refractive index of air is 1. Students, always if it is not given, then also we have to take refractive index of air equal to 1. Refractive index of the glass of which this spherical surface is made up of, that is given 1.5. Object is placed at 100 centimeter, and radius of curvature of this spherically curved surface is given 20 centimeter. We want to find image distance. So from this surface, image is formed here, and this is the image distance. So students, simply we have to apply the formula which we have derived for the spherically curved surface, and that is this. Now n1 is given, n2 is given, object distance is given, n1 and 2, radius of curvature r is also given. Only unknown is this v. So simply put all the given values, but whenever you put the value of u and r, then use sign convention. U is given 100 centimeter, but it is on the left side, so when we put the value we have to take negative, and radius of curvature is towards right side, so that distance is positive only. So using sign convention, we have kept all the given values. Unknown is only v. Now students, next is up to you. Whatever mathematics you have to apply it, simplify it, and obtain the value of v. So image distance will be 100 centimeter. It is obtained as positive only. That means this sign positive indicates that the image is formed towards right side. It is towards this side. So image is formed at 100 centimeter from this point. If the value obtained of v is negative, then definitely it is towards this side. But here v obtained is positive, and so it is towards this side. So finally we can say that image is formed at a distance of 100 centimeter from glass surface in the direction of the incident ray. See what I have written: in the direction of incident ray. So what is the direction of incident ray? It is this. So it is formed in the direction of incident ray. Now refraction by a lens. Students, you can see here in figure that a lens has two curved surface, this towards left side and this towards right side. That means there are two curved surfaces, and we have already obtained the formula for the curved surface. For a spherically curved surface we have obtained formula, but for a lens there is a two curved surface. So to obtain the lens formula, we have to apply that formula for the curved surface two times. Why two times? It is because first the refraction will take place through this surface, and then refraction will take place through this surface also. So two times refraction will take place. Once from this air medium to glass medium, and then from glass to air. So here this is the object, and distance from this surface to object is u, that is object distance. Suppose image is formed here, so from this surface d, this distance of I, which is image distance v. Now students, here we have to consider this lens as a very thin lens. So if we consider this as a thin lens, then this point P and this point D, their distance can be neglected. because length is very thin. Even distance from P to D, that can also be neglected. Here this P is nothing but it is a pole of the lens. So this figure A can be represented as first for surface ABC, because first the refraction will take through this surface, and due to its the image is formed here, that is taken as I1. For first surface, image is formed here. Now this image formed by the first surface behaves as an object for the second surface ADC. So now this image formed due to that first surface is an object for the second surface, and finally the final image is formed here, that is I. So now considering first this surface ABC, ABC. Now here I have written few important points that you have to consider. The image formation can be seen in terms of two steps. The first refracting surface forms the image I1 of the object O. Then the image formed by that first surface, that is I1, act as a virtual object for the second surface that forms the final image I. So now considering the first surface, so applying refraction at a spherical surface to the first interface, that is ABC, we get, see, this is the formula already which we have obtained. So object distance, image distance, we have taken V1 because due to first surface, so that is V1, n2 minus n1 upon r1. Now students, here there are two curved surfaces, and that's why there are two radius of curvature. Remember students, this is the first curved surface, and so its center will be towards this side, and this will be the radius of curvature for first surface, so it is r1. Then for this surface, the radius of curvature will be r2. So here we have taken for the first surface, so it is radius of curvature r1. V1 is the image formed by that surface, so we have applied that formula. Let us give this equation number 1. Now students, applying similar process to the second interface, that is ADC. Look at this interface. Now this image formed by the first surface behaves as an object, and so V1 was the image distance due to that first surface. So this V1 now becomes the object distance for second surface, and that's why you can see here this is V1. Now students, just carefully observe here that object and n1, object was placed in the air medium, so it was n1 here, but now the image I1 is formed in second medium. So when we consider this now image as an object for the second surface, where it is, in which medium, it is in the medium n2, and then final image is formed here in air only. So refractive index of air, that is N1. Negative sign as it is, as usual. Now here N2 minus N1 always. But here R2, for this curved surface, the radius of curvature is R2. Why it is taken negative? Because it is towards left side. Here in first curved surface it was towards right side, so we have taken R1 positive. But this R2 is towards left side, so using sign convention we have to put negative sign. So students, I hope you understood this. So I have written this equation as 1 and this as 2. Now if we add these two equations, so adding left side and adding right side, you can see on the left sides, when we add these two equations, N2 upon V1 and here N2 upon V1 is minus. So these two term will cancel when we add this. So what will remain on left side? N1 upon V minus N1 upon U. And on right hand side, we will get these two terms. In both the terms, in numerator N2 minus N1, N2 minus N1 is common. So adding both the equations, on left side we will get N1 common. What will remain inside? 1 upon V minus 1 upon U. On right hand side N2 minus N1 is common. What will remain in the bracket? 1 upon R1 minus 1 upon R2. So simple mathematics is there. Finally, this N1 is brought towards this side. So on left side, what is remained? 1 upon V minus 1 upon U. And on right hand side, it will be, this is brought here. So on right hand side, we will get this term. Now if you will open this bracket, then what will happen? You will get N2 upon N1 minus N1 upon N1. But here, if you will open this bracket, that means if you will simplify this, then you will get here minus 1, because N1 upon N1 will be 1 only. They will cancel each other. And on this side, N2 upon N1 can be written as N21. N2 upon N1 is N21. So I have written this. Again, it is a simple mathematics. So let us give this equation number 3. Now students, if the object is placed at infinity, if the object is placed at infinity, we know that the image will form at the focus, because the rays coming from the object which is at infinite distance, that all rays are parallel, and when the parallel rays they refract, they always refract towards the focus. So if we take object distance as infinite, then image will be formed at f. So using this condition in above equation, we can write u as infinite and v as f. Rest of the thing on right hand side as it is. Now 1 upon infinity is 0. Anything by infinity is 0. So remain on left side is 1 upon f. and on right side as it is. So students, this formula which is obtained is known as the Lensmaker's formula. This formula for the thin lens is known as Lensmaker's formula. Now, for a thin lens, points D and B, they are very close to the optical center. As I told earlier, that if we consider this lens as a thin lens, then these point B and D are very close to this point P. That means we can consider all these points B, then this P and this D as the same point only. Their distances can be neglected. And so, comparing equation 3 and 4, we get which equation 3? This equation 3 and 4. If we compare, you can see on the right hand side these terms are same. So on the left side these two must be equal. That is 1 upon f is equal to 1 upon v minus 1 upon u. So comparing both this equation 3 and 4, we'll get this equation, and this is known as the thin lens formula. This formula already you have derived in standard 10th. So this is a lens formula. Students, have you remembered mirror formula? In mirror formula it is 1 upon v plus 1 upon u is equal to 1 upon f. This is the mirror formula. And in lens formula it is minus here. Now students, we have obtained this formula for the convex lens, but it is equally true for concave lens also. Concave lens is like this. This is convex and this is concave. Even this Lensmaker's formula is also applicable to all the types of surfaces. Either it is a plane surface, convex surface or concave surface. Now students, about magnification by a lens. We have already studied the magnification due to mirror, concave mirror or convex mirror. According to definition, magnification M is the ratio of height of the image to the height of the object, and same can be written in terms of the ratio of the distances, image distance upon object distance. So students, remember that for a mirror, magnification is minus v by u, and for a lens, magnification is v by u. Now example number 9.7. Now students, this type of examples can be asked only in MCQ. Here it is given that a magician during a show makes a glass lens with refractive index 1.47 disappear in a liquid. What is the refractive index of the liquid? Also it is asked that could the liquid be water? So students, here suppose consider a beaker filled with some liquid, and if this is a glass lens. Now if I put this lens inside this liquid, then this glass lens disappears in the liquid. So this can happen only if and only if the refractive index of the glass as well as that of liquid are same. In that case only the glass can disappear in a liquid in which it is kept. So definitely, what should be the refractive index of liquid? That should be equal to 1.47, and we know that refractive index of water is 1.33. So if you put a glass in water, then that glass cannot disappear in the water. You can easily see that glass inside the water. But if the glass is kept in a liquid having same refractive index, then it gets disappeared. So here this cannot be a water. The liquid cannot be a water here. Here in answer it is given that this liquid must be glycerin, because glycerin is having refractive index 1.47. It is around 1.47. Now about power of lens. Students, the power of our lens is defined as the tangent of the angle by which it converges or diverges a beam of light falling at unit distance from the optical center. Means, to understand this, we can easily say that if there is a lens on which when the rays are incident parallel to it, if it diverges that rays more, then it has more power. Suppose there is another lens, when the parallel rays they incident on it, the diverging power is less. If the diverging power is less, then its power is also less. Now students, for this lens, for this first lens, we can say that as it diverges at this point, all the parallel rays which are incident on the lens, they are diverged at this point, which is called the focus, and the small f denotes the focal length. So here for this first lens, the focal length is less, and so power is more. And here you can see in second lens, the rays are diverging less, and so focal length is more. And so if the focal length is more, then power is less. So it is clear that power P is inverse of focal length. So now here in figure you can see that this is an incident ray. As it is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction it will pass through the focus. This we have already studied. So distance from this optical center to this f, that is small f, called focal length, and here this angle made is delta. So if we take tan delta, remember if we take tan delta, then tan delta is opposite side upon adjacent. Opposite is h and adjacent is f. But as delta is very small, because we consider the rays to be paraxial rays, so if delta is very small, we can write tan delta is equal to delta, And according to definition, if we consider for unit height, if we take this h as 1 for unit height, then h is equal to 1 and f as it is. So this delta is 1 upon f, and this delta is nothing but is power of the lens. And so once again, look at this definition. The power P, symbol is P, of a lens is defined as the tangent of an angle, that is delta, by which it converges or diverges a beam of light. This is the beam of light falling at unit distance from the optical center. Unit distance from the optical center means from this point O to the point at which the ray is incident, that is, this is the unit distance. And so tan delta is h upon f. If we take h is equal to 1, and as delta is very small, so we get delta is equal to 1 upon f, but delta is nothing but is power. Now SI unit of power, you can see here it is inverse of focal length, and focal length, its unit is meter. So we can say unit of power is 1 upon meter, or it is meter inverse, but a special name given to this is diopter. But 1 diopter is equal to 1 meter inverse. Symbol for diopter is D. Now students, if the lens is convex, then we know that the rays, they converge this side, and so focal length is positive. And if the focal length is positive, power is also positive. So for convex lens, power is positive. But if it is a concave lens, then the rays which are falling on the lens, they used to divert in this way. And when we extend this refracted ray backward, then they meet at this point. So this is called the focus of this concave lens. And so focal length is towards left side, and left side means f is negative. And if f is negative, then power is also negative. So remember, for convex lens power is positive, and for concave lens power is negative. Now about example number 9.8. Now in this example, first one is given that for a lens, its focal length is 0.5 meter. So what will be its power? So students, we know that power is inverse of focal length. P is equal to 1 by f. Just put the value of f and calculate, you will get 2. So power is equal to plus 2d. D means diopter. And as power is positive, definitely it is a convex lens. Then second, for a double convex lens means both the side the surface is convex like this. So for a double convex lens, radius of curvatures are given, its focal length is also given, and we want to find the refractive index of the material of the lens. We know that this lens is made up of glass only, and refractive index of different glass is different. So here also we want to find the refractive index of this glass material of which the lens is made up of. Students, we have already obtained this formula, lens maker's formula. So here, when the glass is in air, in that case, simply this equation becomes 1 upon f is equal to n minus 1. No need to write n to 1, because n to 1 means it is n2 upon n1, where n1 is the refractive index of air and this n2 is the refractive index of glass. But we know that refractive index of air is equal to 1 only, so no need to write. So there is only one n, and that n is for the glass only. So simply we can write n when it is a glass air interface. So here also directly we have written this formula, 1 upon f is equal to n minus 1, 1 upon r1 minus 1 upon r2. Now just put the given values. Value of r1 is given, r2 is given, and f is also given. But when we used to put the values, we need to remember the sign convention. So here, as it is a double convex lens or simply convex lens, its focal length will be positive. R1 and R2. R1 is taken positive. Why? Because for convex lens this is the first curvature, and so its radius of curvature is this side from the pole, so it is positive. While R2, its curvature is towards this side, so from pole it is towards left side, so it is taken negative. So now using sign convention and putting the values, R1 is taken positive, R2 is taken negative. Focal length for convex lens is positive. Now only n is unknown, so just calculate. You will get n is equal to 1.5. Remember, refractive index is a unitless. Now, given that for a convex lens, when it is in air, its focal length is 20, and when the same lens is inside the water, its focal length will be different, and that is to be obtained. Now students, here refractive index of air we used to take 1, refractive index of water is 1.33, it is given, and the glass of which the lens is made up of, its refractive index is 1.5. So now using this lens maker's formula, you can see here this is a lens maker's formula. This is refractive index of glass N2 and N1, that is refractive index of air. So N21 means it is refractive index of glass with respect to air. So here first the lens is kept in air, so we have written 1 upon Fa, focal length in air. So refractive index of glass with respect to air minus 1, 1 upon r1 minus 1 upon r2. This is given 20. Refractive index of glass with respect to air, NGA, is equal to Ng upon Na, but Ng is given 1.5 and Na is 1, so that is equal to 1.5 only. So Nga is equal to 1.5 minus 1, and this as it is. Now 1.5 minus 1 is 0.50. Let us give this equation number 1. Now the same lens is kept in water. So for water glass interface, 1 upon Fw means focal length in water. Now see, it is NGW, refractive index of glass with respect to water, that is equal to N of G upon N of W. Rest of the things as it is, but NGW is Ng upon Nw means this 1.5 for refractive index of glass, that is this, and Nw is refractive index of water. Rest of the things as it is. Calculating this, you will get 0.127 approximately. Let us give this equation number 2. Now we have to simply take the ratio of equation number 1 and 2. This equation 1 and this equation 2. Now students, in both the equation this is common, so they will cancel out, and when you will take the ratio, you will find Fw upon 20 is equal to 0.5 upon 0.127. Only unknown is Fw. So calculating this, you will get focal length of this lens in water to be approximately equal to 78 centimeter, and as it is a convex lens, its focal length will be positive only. Now about combination of thin lenses in contact. You can see in figure here two thin lenses, they are combined. So after combination, what will be the resultant focal length f that we have to obtain? Suppose the focal length of first lens is f1 and that of second lens is f2. So what will be the resultant focal length f that we have to find for this type of combination? So students, it is clear that for a thin lens, we have the formula which we have obtained. This is the formula for thin lens. So here we have to apply this formula 2 times because there are two lenses combined, and it is clear that when the ray coming from the object strikes at the first lens, the image is formed due to first lens. So image formed due to first lens is taken as I1, and now this image serves as an object, or this image behaves as an object for this second lens B, and finally this image is obtained. Due to first lens, that is lens A, the image distance will be V1, and this image distance becomes the object distance for this second lens B, and finally we'll get the final image distance. So students, it is quite simple. Applying the thin lens formula for first lens, that is lens A. 1 upon V minus 1 upon U is equal to 1 upon F. But here it is for the first lens. So first image is formed, that is V1, its distance. And focal length of first lens is F1. Now students, this image formed due to first lens becomes object for the second lens. So you can see for second lens, that is lens B, in place of object distance, what we have kept? V1. Why? Because this V1 is nothing but it is the image due to first lens, and that behaves as an object for second lens. So 1 upon V, here this V is a final image, minus 1 upon V1, which is nothing but object distance for second lens, is equal to 1 upon F2. F2 is the focal length of this lens B. Let us give this equation number 2. Now adding both these equations, equation 1 and equation 2, you can see here in first equation this is 1 upon V1, in second equation it is there 1 upon V1, but it is negative. So when we add both this equation on left side, this term will cancel out. So what is remain on left side? 1 upon V minus 1 upon U, and that is here. And on right hand side, 1 upon F1 plus 1 upon F2, that is here. Let us give this equation number 3. Now suppose if the combination of these lenses is regarded as an equivalent to a single lens, means if we consider this combination of two lenses as a single lens only, that is like this, then according to lens maker's formula, we can write 1 upon V minus 1 upon U is equal to 1 upon F. This is for the combination, considering both the lenses as a one lens only, single lens. Let us give this equation number 4. So now comparing equation number 3 and 4, you can see on left side these terms are same. So definitely on right hand side these two must be same. So 1 upon F is equal to 1 upon F1 plus 1 upon F2. Hence comparing we get the formula for the focal length in the combination of two thin lenses. Now students, if more than two lenses are combined, then also in general we can write this formula. Now about power in combination of two or more than two lenses. Students, what is 1 upon F? 1 upon F is P. So what is 1 upon F1? P1. Similarly 1 upon F2 is P2 and so on. So power of the lens goes on adding, means power will increase if the lenses are combined. But here also students, if the two lenses which are combined are different, that means if one is concave and the other is convex, then when you put the value of focal length of these lenses, then remember for concave lens it is negative, and for convex lens the focal length is positive. So addition or the summation should be taken in that form only, considering the sign convention. Now about magnification. when the lenses are combined, magnification are multiplied, powers are added, but magnification is multiplied. Now example number 9.9. Students, here you can see there are three lenses, they are combined. First lens is convex lens having focal length plus 10. Second lens is concave lens, actually it is a plano concave. You can see one surface is plane and other is concave, so it is called plano concave. First lens is double convex, or simply we can say it is a convex lens. So for second lens the focal length is negative, and third lens once again it is a convex, its focal length is 30. Now students, here this first lens and third lens, as they are convex lens, their focal lengths are positive, while this second lens is a concave, so its focal length is negative. Distance between first and second lens is given 5 cm, and distance between second and third lens is given 10 cm, and the object is placed 30 cm away from the first lens. So when this object is placed here, the refraction will take place by first lens, second lens and third lens, and then finally the image is obtained. So here we have to find the position of the image. Now the image formed by the first lens behaves as an object for the second lens. So first we'll find the image distance due to lens 1. So using the formula for the thin lens, 1 upon V1 minus 1 upon U1 is equal to 1 upon F1. It is a first lens, and that's why we have written here 1 in the subscript. So this is the thin lens formula. Now just put the values. Object distance U 30 is given, but using sign convention object distance is taken minus 30. Focal length for convex lens is positive. For first lens the focal length is 10. Only V1 is unknown, so simple mathematics is there. After calculating you will get V1 is equal to 15 centimeter. As this V1 is obtained as positive, so definitely this distance will be towards right side of lens L1. So now students, from this lens the image is 15 centimeter. So now for second lens, the image formed by the first lens, that is V1, will behave as an object for this second lens. So for this second lens, the distance of object will be 15. V1 is obtained 15, so 15 minus 5, because this is to be subtracted from that, because distance between the first and the second lens is 5 centimeter, and now we are going to consider the second lens, and so from second lens that distance will be V1, which is 15, minus this 5 is equal to 10. And so now applying thin lens formula for second lens, first we'll write the formula. 1 upon V2 minus 1 upon U2 is equal to 1 upon F2. But the object distance for the second lens will be V1 minus D1, and that is 10 centimeter. So U2 is 10. Why we have kept now positive? It is because it is on the left side. Focal length for concave lens is minus, so minus 10. Unknown is V2. When you will calculate this, you will get 1 upon V2 is equal to 0. And so V2 is equal to 1 by 0, and anything by 0 is undefined or infinite. So V2 obtained is infinite, and it is towards the left side of lens L2. Now this is the image formed by this lens L2, and this image will behave as an object for third lens. Now students, as the image formed due to this second lens is at infinite distance, so from infinite distance, if we subtract this 10, then also that distance will remain infinite only. To infinity, if we add anything or if we subtract anything, the result will be infinite only. And so for third lens, the image distance will be, the object distance will be infinite only. Image due to second lens behaves object for the third lens. Now once again for third lens, writing the formula 1 upon V3 minus 1 upon U3 is equal to 1 upon F3. U3 is infinite and 1 upon infinite is 0. So this term becomes 0. So what is remained? 1 upon V3 is equal to 1 upon F3. But focal length of third lens is 30. So V3 is equal to 30 centimeter on the right hand side of lens 3. So students, final image formed is 30 centimeter away from the third lens on the right hand side, that is towards this side. So students, I hope you understood about today's topics and examples which we have done. Still, if you have any doubt, then you can ask me.